The echo of a slap reverberated through the dimly lit vestry of St. Agnes Cathedral in Willow Creek, New Jersey. I didn't cry out. Instead, I tasted blood where his signet ring had split my lip. The man who was about to become my stepfather straightened his cufflinks, his face a mask of controlled fury. "You'll keep your mouth shut, Emily," he hissed, "or I'll make sure you regret it. My name is Emily Voss, and for the past 7 years, I've made a living unraveling lies as a forensic auditor at Keystone Integrity Partners. Numbers don't deceive, people do. And right now, those numbers were screaming that Marcus Hale, the esteemed real estate developer and my mother's fiancé, was a thief hiding behind a veneer of generosity. The rehearsal had just wrapped up, the organ's notes still fading in the nave. Mom was outside, chatting with the wedding planner about tomorrow's floral arches. Oblivious to the storm brewing, Marcus had cornered me here, in this sacred side room smelling of incense and polished oak, after spotting me poring over his Hale Community Trust reports on my phone. Those documents, carelessly left on the dining table at home, showed donations vanishing into phantom consulting fees, 40% of every dollar earmarked for homeless shelters funneled to offshore accounts. I'd cross-checked with public records. The revitalization projects in downtown Willow Creek were overbilled by millions. Materials skimped while pockets lined. But Mom? She was radiant, finally smiling after Dad's passing a decade ago. Marcus made her feel alive, with his gala invitations and whispered promises. How could I shatter that? "Sign this," he demanded, shoving a non-disclosure agreement under my nose. It wasn't just an NDA, it was a gag order on anything related to his empire, binding me forever. I refused. That's when his hand flew. Now. As he loomed over me, I wiped the blood from my lip, my heart pounding not from fear, but from the clarity it brought. The church's new AV system, donated by Marcus himself in a splashy ceremony last year, hummed faintly in the background, microphones still live from the sound check. Somewhere, a feed might be capturing this, but I couldn't count on that. I needed proof, leverage, something to stop this wedding without breaking her first. Marcus adjusted his tie, the philanthropist's smile snapping back. "Think about your mother, Emily. She deserves happiness." He left, the door clicking shut like a final warning. I sank against the wall, the cool stone grounding me. My cheek throbbed, but the real pain was deeper, the betrayal simmering in my chest. As I gathered myself, I noticed a figure through the cracked door, a tall man in a navy suit, lingering in the fourth pew, his posture too alert for a casual observer. He wasn't part of the wedding party. I knew every face from the guest list. He met my gaze briefly, his eyes steady, then turned away, slipping his phone into his pocket. Who was he? The rehearsal dinner loomed, but I skipped it, pleading a migraine. Instead, I drove to my apartment, the city lights blurring through tears I finally allowed. My laptop glowed on the coffee table as I dove deeper. The Hale Trust's filings were a web of deceit, vendor invoices from ghost companies like Summit Advisory and Peak Holdings, all tracing back to Marcus's personal LLCs. I pulled bank records, public ones from charity disclosures, and matched them to construction bids. The Willow Creek Shelter Project? Concrete costs inflated by 35%, with subpar suppliers used to cut corners. Families waiting for homes while he bought yachts. At midnight, I texted my colleague, Jordan Reyes, a data analyst with a knack for digital digs. "Need metadata on these PDFs. Urgent." His reply came fast. "On it. Give me an hour." While waiting, I photographed my face, the swelling lip, the red welt blooming into a bruise. Evidence. Always evidence. Jordan called at 1:15 a.m. These contracts were doctored. Original timestamps from 8 months back. But edits last week bumped the fees. Admin access? Marcus Hale's IP. Sloppy work. I can pull the originals. Send them secure, I said, my voice steady despite the adrenaline. By dawn, I had it all. A dossier of fraud. Altered docs side by side. A trail leading straight to him. But exposure meant humiliating Mom in front of everyone. I filed an anonymous tip to the New Jersey Attorney General's Office for Nonprofit Oversight, case number NJ AG 2026-8921. Slow wheels, but turning. The wedding was in hours. I needed speed. That's when I remembered the man in the pew. A quick search on my phone. Elias Grant, venture capitalist. Major stakeholder in Hale Developments, 25% ownership. He'd funded the church's renovation. Sat on its advisory board. Ethical investor. Pulled out of deals over scandals before. And he'd seen me emerge from that vestry. Hand to my face. Was he the variable I needed? I emailed him via his firm's site. Urgent re. Hale trust irregularities. Witnessed incident at rehearsal. Emily Voss. His response pinged at 6:45 a.m. Coffee shop across from St. Agnes. 7:30 sharp. The place was quiet. Steam rising from mugs like ghosts. Elias arrived on time. Silver-flecked hair. Sharp suit. He sat. Ordering espresso. MS. Voss. Your email suggests serious issues. I passed a slim folder. Embezzlement via shells. Doctored contracts. Your stake's at risk. He reviewed it. His face hardening. How deep? 2 years. Minimum. Millions siphoned. He closed it. And the incident. I touched my lip. He assaulted me. Tried forcing an NDA. Elias leaned in. I was there for the sound check, church board duty. The mics were hot. We record diagnostics. I heard. Enough. A slap. Threats. My breath caught. You have it. Archived. Timestamped. He paused. I have daughters. Men like Marcus? They don't change. What now? I know a prosecutor. Lena Cortez. Owes me from a past case. We can fast track. We left together. By 9 a.m. At Cortez's office downtown, I deposed everything. The fraud. The assault. She nodded grimly. Solid. We'll issue a warrant. But timing. The wedding's at noon, I said. Elias smiled faintly. Board clause, moral misconduct triggers removal. I can call an emergency vote. The pieces aligned. As I headed to the church, Mom texted. Where are you? Hair and makeup. On my way, I replied. Heart aching. I had to play the part a little longer. The bridal suite buzzed with laughter and champagne flutes clinking. But I felt like an intruder in my own life. Mom twirled in her ivory gown, veil cascading like a dream she deserved. Emily. Sweetie. You look pale. Everything okay? Her eyes searched mine. Full of that maternal intuition I both loved and dreaded. Just nerves, I lied, letting the makeup artist work her magic on my bruised lip. Concealer hid the mark, but not the memory. Outside. Guests arrived in waves, cousins from Philly, old friends from Mom's teaching days. The cathedral's spires pierced the crisp autumn sky. A picture-perfect setting for what was about to unravel. Elias texted, board assembling in annex. Cortez prepping docs. I slipped the flash drive from Jordan into my clutch. Visuals of the fraud. Ready for projection. The Hale Trust had sponsored the church's digital screens for hymns. Irony at its finest. At 10:45, the photographer herded us for pre-ceremony shots. Marcus posed beside Mom, arm around her waist, flashing that billboard grin. His eyes flicked to me, a silent threat. I smiled back, bouquet hiding trembling hands. Has anyone seen the board members? Mom asked casually. Marcus invited a few for networking. He chuckled. Business never stops. Darling. Little did he know. In the annex, Elias was presenting slides of siphoned funds, my deposition excerpts. Phones vibrated with alerts. Cortez had filed charges. Notifications hitting inboxes. By 11:30, as we lined up for the processional, whispers rippled through the ushers. Marcus's best man checked his phone, face paling. The organ swelled with Mendelssohn's March. Bridesmaids glided down the aisle, petals underfoot. I followed, each step a countdown. At the altar, Marcus's composure cracked slightly, a bead of sweat on his brow. Mom appeared, escorted by my uncle, beaming under the stained glass glow. The minister began, dearly beloved, but Marcus interrupted, voice booming. Before vows, a word on family. He turned to me. Emily's an auditor, sharp eye for details. But some things stay private, right? He stepped closer, violating invisible boundaries. 30 feet. 20. My hand tightened on the bouquet. Loyalty matters, he continued, pulling a folded paper from his jacket. The NDA again? We protect our own. Mr. Hale, Elias's voice thundered from the side aisle. He stood with Cortez and two suited men, detectives. Step back. You're in breach. The congregation murmured. Mom frowned. What's going on? This is absurd, Marcus snarled. My wedding? Not anymore, Elias said. As lead investor, I've invoked the misconduct clause. Board voted 82% to oust you as CEO. Effective now. Phones lit up, press release dropping. Hale Development's CEO removed amid fraud probe. Guests gasped. Scrolling. Lies. Marcus lunged toward me. You little. Halt. Cortez interjected. Assault charge filed. Warrant issued. The screens flickered on not for hymns, but Jordan's exposé, arrows tracing stolen millions. Family stories of delayed housing. Then, the audio played. Marcus's voice. Sign this. Or regret it. The slap's crack echoed. My refusal. Steady. The church froze. Mom's veil slipped slightly. Marcus. What is this? Fabricated, he pleaded. But the evidence mounted. Detectives advancing. Board members nodded from pews, confirming the vote. Chaos erupted. Flashes from phones. Reporters in the crowd typing furiously. Marcus was cuffed mid-aisle. Tux rumpled. Helen. Believe me. Mom removed her ring, letting it fall with a clatter. Get out. As they dragged him away, police lights flashed outside. The minister closed his Bible. Service adjourned. Mom turned to me, tears streaming. You knew. I found out yesterday. Tried to stop it quietly. For you. She pulled me close, sobbing. Elias approached. The trust will be audited fully. Funds restored. But in that moment, amid shattered vows and exposed truths, victory felt hollow. Mom's dream lay in ruins, yet her grip on my hand was fierce. We'd rebuild from honesty, not illusions. The aftermath hung heavy in the cathedral's air, like the scent of wilting lilies after a storm. Guests milled about, some whispering condolences to Mom, others snapping discreet photos of the screens still displaying the damning financial trails. Marcus's arrest played out in the vestibule, detectives reading rights as he protested innocence, his voice echoing back into the nave. Mom stood at the altar's base, gown pooling around her like melted snow, staring at the spot where her future had dissolved. I approached slowly, the click of my heels amplified in the stunned quiet.
Mom.
I'm so sorry. She didn't look at me at first, her fingers twisting the veil's edge. When she did, her eyes held a mix of betrayal and dawning understanding. How long? Emily? How long did you suspect? Weeks, I admitted, voice cracking. But proof came last night. I couldn't let you marry him without. My words trailed off as she nodded, a single tear tracing her cheek. You protected me, even when it hurt. Elias joined us, his presence a steady anchor. Mrs. Voss. The board's committed to restitution. Every cent back to the shelters. She managed a weak smile. Call me Helen. And thank you for seeing what I couldn't. Outside, news vans arrived, reporters clustering at the steps. The story was breaking wide. Philanthropist groom busted at altar for embezzlement. Marcus's empire, built on Willow Creek's skyline, was crumbling in real time, stocks tumbling, partners distancing. Back in the bridal suite, Mom changed into street clothes, the gown abandoned like a shed skin. The reception hall's booked, she said quietly. Might as well use it for something good. We transformed it. Guests donated on-site to legitimate charities, turning catered feasts into an impromptu fundraiser. Laughter mingled with sobs. A bizarre catharsis. Elias pulled me aside amid the chaos. You were brave. Not many would risk family for truth. Had to, I replied. For her. By evening, as fairy lights twinkled over uneaten cake, Mom and I sat alone on the venue's balcony. The city hummed below, indifferent to our drama. I feel foolish, she confessed. Blinded by love. Not foolish, I said. Hopeful. That's not a crime. She squeezed my hand. Promise me, no more secrets. Promise. But secrets lingered in the shadows. Jordan texted. More dirt. Hale servers had hidden files, bribes to city officials. The probe would widen, ensnaring accomplices. Elias, with his network, ensured it. Days blurred into investigations. I testified at the AG's office, recounting the slap, the threats, the fraud's web. Mom attended, her support unwavering. Marcus's bail hearing came, denied. Flight risk. Headlines screamed, from vows to handcuffs, the Hale scandal. Therapy sessions followed, unpacking the emotional wreckage. Mom grieved the man she thought she knew. I wrestled guilt for the public spectacle. Yet, bonds strengthened. We volunteered at the very shelters he'd robbed, turning pain into purpose. Elias became an ally, funding reforms at Hale Developments under new leadership. One evening, over coffee, he shared his story, a past deal gone sour with a similar crook. Learn to listen to the quiet warnings, he said. Like that hum in the church. The audio had sealed it irrefutable. Months later, Marcus's trial loomed. Evidence mounted. Witnesses from vendors. Digital trails unerasable. He'd plea. Perhaps. But justice felt inevitable. Mom dated again. Cautiously, her laughter returning in small bursts. I audited with renewed vigor, spotting lies before they festered. The bruise faded, but the lesson endured. Truth, whispered or roared, reshapes worlds. In Willow Creek's rebuilt shelters, families moved in, real hope, not stolen. And in quiet moments, I wondered, what price silence? What power in a single no? But the story didn't end with the arrest or the headlines. Ripples spread, pulling in threads I hadn't anticipated. 2 weeks post-wedding, that was it. A knock came at Mom's door. It was Detective Harlan from the Willow Creek PD, badge gleaming under porch light. MS. Voss. We need to discuss new developments in the Hale case. Inside. Over herbal tea. He laid it out, Marcus's fraud wasn't solo. Accomplices, city council members who'd approved bloated contracts for kickbacks. My dossier had cracked it open. "Your work," Harlan said to me. "It's the linchpin." Mom listened, chin high. "What now?" "Interviews. Possibly testifying." As he left, she turned to me. "This is bigger than us." It was. The scandal dominated local news. Protests at City Hall demanding accountability. Elias funded an independent audit of municipal projects, uncovering a decade of graft. I dove in, volunteering hours to trace the money, families evicted for revitalization that lined pockets. One night, scrolling feeds, I saw Marcus's mugshot. Eyes hollow. Pity flickered, then died. He'd chosen this. Jordan called. "Deep dive on those servers?" Emails to a mistress, using trust funds for gifts. The personal betrayal hit Mom hardest. "How blind was I?" she whispered. We cried together, then laughed at the absurdity, her in pajamas, me with spreadsheets. Healing came in waves. Therapy unpacked trust issues. Walks in the park rebuilt our rhythm. Elias invited us to a gala for the Reformed Trust, now Vosshale Renewal Fund, in her honor. "Your strength inspires," he told her. She blushed, a spark returning. But shadows lingered. Anonymous calls came, threats from Marcus's loyalists. "Drop it." Harlan assigned protection. Fear gnawed, but resolve hardened. At the preliminary hearing, I faced Marcus across the courtroom. Shackled. He glared. "You ruined everything." "You did," I countered under breath. Evidence paraded. My photos of the bruise. The audio. Financial webs. His lawyer argued coercion. The judge dismissed. Bail denied again. Outside, reporters swarmed. "Emily, how's it feel exposing your stepfather?" "Almost stepfather," I corrected. "And it feels right." Mom stood beside me, voice steady. Justice for the families he hurt. The trials span months. A media circus. Witnesses testified, vendors coerced, families displaced. Jordan's forensics dazzled the jury. Elias took the stand. I invested in progress, not theft. Marcus's defense crumbled. Guilty on all counts: embezzlement, assault, bribery. Sentencing: 15 years. As the gavel fell, Mom exhaled. It's over. But was it? In prison interviews, Marcus spun tales of frame-ups. Supporters rallied, but truth prevailed. The city reformed bidding processes, shelters expanded. Mom started a support group for betrayal survivors, her way of reclaiming power. I advanced at work, mentoring young auditors. Trust your gut, I'd say. Elias and I grew close, mentorship turning friendship. You remind me of my daughter, he confided. One anniversary of the non-wedding. Mom and I lit candles at St. Agnes. To new beginnings, she toasted. The hum of that fateful sound system echoed in memory, a reminder that silence breaks under weight. What if I'd signed? Lives unchanged. Lies perpetuated. The cost of truth was high, a mother's heartbreak, a family's fracture. But the gain? Integrity restored, hope rebuilt. In the quiet pews, I pondered, is mercy shielding from pain, or arming with facts? The answer lingered, a whisper in the nave. Years passed, but the echo of that day in St. Agnes never fully faded. Willow Creek transformed, new oversight laws bore my name in footnotes. A quiet legacy. Mom remarried quietly, to a kind librarian named Tom. Their vows in a garden, simple and true. No cathedrals, no secrets. I stood as her witness, bouquet free of hidden documents. At the reception, Elias raised a glass. to truths that set us free. His investment firm thrived. Ethical standards a benchmark. We'd co-authored a book on corporate fraud detection, proceeds to charities. But beneath the surface, doubts crept. Had the exposure been too public? Mom's group sessions revealed similar stories, women shattered by revelations. Timing matters, one shared. I nodded, remembering her mascara-streaked face at the altar. Marcus served time, but appeals dragged. From prison, he wrote letters, apologies laced with blame. You destroyed me. I burned them unread. Jordan and I partnered on cases. Our bond forged in late-night digs. That slap?
Catalyst, he'd say.
One case mirrored ours, a daughter uncovering a father's Ponzi. I advised her, gather proof. Find allies. Strike wisely. She did, saving lives from ruin. Personal life bloomed cautiously. Dates came, but trust was earned slowly. Auditor's curse, I'd joke. Then came Alex, a journalist who'd covered the scandal. Your story inspired me, he said over coffee. We built something real, grounded in openness. Mom's words echoed, no more secrets. On the 5th anniversary, a package arrived anonymously. Inside, Marcus's signet ring, engraved with his initials. A note, returned. Make better use. Chills ran down my spine. Was it remorse? A threat? Harlan investigated no leads. Old ghosts, he said. But it stirred reflection. The fraud's victims thrived, shelters full. Families stable. One resident approached me at a fundraiser. Your bravery housed my kids. Thank you. Tears welled. Worth it. Elias passed unexpectedly, a heart attack at 68. His will endowed scholarships in my name. At the funeral, his daughter hugged me. Dad said you saved his soul from bad investments. Laughter through grief. Life's math shifted, losses balanced gains. Mom and Tom's home became my sanctuary, filled with books and warmth. Proud of you, she'd say. The bruise's scar, faint now, reminded me of resilience. In quiet moments, I'd visit the cathedral, sitting in that 4th pew. The AV hum comforted, a symbol of captured truth. What if Elias hadn't lingered? What if I'd screamed instead of strategized? Paths not taken. The central question haunted. When does protection become enabling? Marcus's fall exposed not just his sins, but society's blind spots, charity as cover, power unchecked. We rebuilt stronger, but the cost lingered in Mom's occasional distant gaze. Truth detonates, reshapes, but in the debris, growth emerges. Willow Creek's skyline, once Marcus's domain, now housed honest dreams. And I audited on, whispering warnings to numbers that listened. The story closed not with explosion, but with a quiet benediction, courage in the face of love's illusions. What would you sacrifice for the ones you cherish?